Dear my beloved audiences, today I want to tell you a story which is called Sultan the Sandy Sleuth. Sultan wasn't your average Saluki dog. With his sleek, sandy-colored fur, long, elegant legs, and eyes that saw everything, especially if it involved food, he was more of a graceful goofball than a traditional desert hunter. He lived with the kind Al Fahad family in Kuwait City, where the air hummed with the scent of spices, the bustling souks, and endless adventures. Sultan's main job, as he saw it, was to bring unexpected joy and accidental chaos to everyone he met. Part 1. The Case of the Vanishing Dates. Sultan's day, much like the Kuwaiti desert, was full of unexpected discoveries. Today's discovery began with the irresistible scent of fresh dates. Sticky, sweet, and utterly irresistible. Ahmed, a beloved family elder with a gentle smile and the best date pastries in all of Kuwait, had just placed a towering tray of plump dates on the majlis table for guests. Sultan, his long nose twitching, knew his destiny lay with those dark, delicious treasures. He initiated his desert mirage approach, which involved a slow, almost floating glide across the cool marble floor until he was practically a sandy shadow under the majlis table. His tail, however, had a mind of its own and kept thumping a rhythmic thump-thump-thump against the intricate patterns of the carpet, sending tiny vibrations through the quiet room. Suddenly, a playful gust of wind, a common occurrence from an open balcony door, decided to join the fun. It swept through the majlis, catching the light tray of dates just so. The towering pile of dates, soft and sticky, took flight. They scattered across the polished floor like edible, brown marbles, some even rolling with soft plops under nearby cushions. Sultan watched in a mixture of horror and delight. His potential breakfast, scattered. This was a case of cosmic proportions, the case of the vanishing dates. He charged towards the scattered treats, barking joyful and slightly panicked, orders at the decorative cushions. Hold it right there, fluffy suspects. The evidence must be consumed. Preserved. The cushions, unimpressed, remained still. Sultan tried to gather them. He nudged them with his nose, he tried to scoop them with his paws, and he even attempted to herd the rolling ones with his nose. This resulted in him slipping on a squash date, getting his elegant fur completely smeared with sticky fruit, and emerging from the date chaos looking like a very sticky, sandy cloud. Ahmed, seeing the chaotic and delicious scene, threw back her head and laughed. She brought out another fresh tray of dates, much to Sultan's relief. The mystery of the exploding dates remained unsolved, but Sultan suspected the wind, or perhaps those overly curious dust bunnies under the cushions, were far more mischievous than they seemed. Part 2. The Great Camel Race Mix-Up. Sultan had a deep admiration for the racing camels that occasionally trotted through the outskirts of Kuwait City during training. He admired their speed, their powerful strides, and their long, graceful necks. He also believed he possessed a unique talent, camel racing. He just hadn't quite perfected the having a jockey part yet. One day, a camel trainer was leading a magnificent racing camel named Zara past the Al Fahad's house. Zara, sleek and powerful, was performing a training trot. Sultan, seeing his chance to demonstrate his racing skills, decided to assist. He approached Zara cautiously, took a deep breath, and, in his best race commentator bark, let out a series of booming yips, punctuated by dramatic sneezes as the desert dust tickled his nose. He believed he was conveying important instructions. Zara, my dear, the finish line is ahead. Trot bravely, and perhaps share some dates later. Zara, however, interpreted this as a very loud and intrusive attempt at conversation. She rolled her eyes, snorted, and then, with a subtle flick of her tail, managed to gently swat Sultan on the nose. Sultan, startled, let out his startled gazelle sneeze and tumbled backwards into a small pile of decorative gravel. He emerged, covered in tiny stones and looking utterly bewildered. He tried again, louder this time, convinced Zara hadn't heard his vital message. This time, Zara simply took a slow, deliberate step, her long legs carrying her away, clearly indicating she was done with the racing advice. Ahmed, the Al-Fahad's son, seeing the one-sided race commentary, chuckled. "Sultan," he said, patting the dog's sandy head, "some camels prefer quiet focus to loud coaching." Sultan, still convinced Zara was just being stubborn, gave the disappearing camel a suspicious glare. Part 3. The Souk Sleuth and the Tourist Treasure. Sultan loved going with the Al-Fahads to the bustling souk. He loved the scents of oud, spices, and freshly brewed gawa, Arabic coffee. He especially loved the endless stream of tourists who often dropped small snacks. One day, while exploring near a dazzling gold jewelry stall, Sultan spotted a tourist looking very distressed. The tourist, a kind woman with a brightly colored headscarf, seemed to have lost something important. This was the Souk Sleuth's treasure hunt. Sultan, putting on his most serious eagle-eye detective face, which mostly involved squinting his eyes until they disappeared in his fur, approached the woman. He sniffed her sandals, her shopping bag, and then the dusty ground around her. He picked up a faint scent of delicious, sugary baklava. He followed the scent, his tail wagging with determined focus, weaving through crowds of shoppers and past bustling stalls. He barked at a passing cat, thinking it might be a suspicious character, and even tried to interrogate a silent, ancient spice grinder, which, predictably, offered no clues. The scent led him to a small, cluttered antique stall, where he found a tiny, sparkly object. It was a silver earring, shaped like a tiny dhow, a traditional sailing boat, and it smelled faintly of baklava. Sultan, with a triumphant bark and a slightly squished ear from squeezing into the crowded stall, picked up the earring and trotted back to the distressed tourist. The woman's eyes lit up when she saw her earring. "Oh my goodness! My grandmother's earring. Thank you, thank you." She hugged Sultan tightly and, as a reward, pulled out a small piece of baklava. Sultan's eyes widened. Baklava. This was the best reward a Kuwaiti sleuth could ask for. He devoured the baklava, his tail wagging furiously. He might not always understand humans, or camels, or even the wind, but he understood the universal language of a well-earned treat. And that, Sultan knew, was the greatest mystery of all on the vast, funny streets of Kuwait. If you like this video, please leave a like and a subscribe. It will really help our channel grow. But if you don't like it, then just skip it, and don't forget to check out our other videos. Thank you very much and goodbye.